Secret Service Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update, and little birdies are saying it's not been completely verified, but that I'm hearing that somebody who has an inside source is saying the DA's office in Mississippi is now looking at the Nolan Wells case as a criminal investigation and no longer an accidental drowning. Now, we can only pray that this is true. Obviously, we can't celebrate. We can't get excited at all because I have not seen Ben Crump announce this. It is not being reported by any other major media sources, but there are rumblings. And so we have to take rumblings. We have to take any little bits we can take. Remember, no stone unturned. We must look in every single direction. We must continue to keep the pressure on.
So every day there's something going on with this Nolan Wells case, and everybody's talking about it. So now, this should have been happening. But this woman, Stacey Turner, the Mississippi medical examiner, she's under fire. People have put together a petition. There's over 45,000 people that signed this petition. They want to get her license revoked. They want to get her up out of there. There's been a lot of people unalivings where things have come into question. And she's been questioned about the way she's handled cases. When these bodies come to her, the way she's ruled them. And a lot of people are upset in Mississippi, and I think the door's about to be blown off finally on what's going on down there in Mississippi, man, because there's been a lot of people turning up unalive, man, and these people been getting, from the looks of it, allegedly, from the looks of it, it looks like people been getting away with a lot of bad stuff, man. So now, when we get over here, you have petition to revoke Stacey Turner's medical license, right? And let's make this a little bigger. Right? So it says the issue, petition demanding an independent investigation into the conduct of Mississippi Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Stacey Turner, the governor of Mississippi, the Mississippi State Board of Medical Licensure, the Mississippi Department of Public Safety, the Mississippi Attorney General, and the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, and all agencies charged with protecting the integrity of Mississippi criminal justice system. Right? The undersigned citizens, families, advocates, and supporters of equal justice under the law respectfully but not unequivocally call for an immediate independent investigation into the professional conduct, forensic determinations, and death investigations overseen by Mississippi Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Stacey Turner. The office, make this a little bit bigger. The office of the state medical examiner occupies one of the most consequential positions within Mississippi justice system. Medical examiners are entrusted to determine the cause and manner of death through objective scientific analysis. Their conclusions influence criminal investigations, judicial proceedings, insurance determinations, and most importantly, whether grieving families ever receive justice. Man, that's crazy, man. That public trust is compromised whenever credible questions arise regarding the accuracy, consistencies, and impartiality of death investigations. Over the past several years, multiple deaths involving African-American individuals have generated substantial public concerns. Family independent forensic experts, civil rights advocates, and members of the public have questioned whether these investigations were conducted with the rigor, transparency, and impartiality required by accepted forensic standards, right? Among those cases are, DeMartavion Troy Reed, a 21-year-old Delta State University student found hanging from a tree in September 2025. Although his unaliving was officially ruled a suicide, his family had publicly challenged that determination and commissioned an independent forensic review. Their pursuit of additional examinations reflect a profound lack of confidence in the state's investigation. Then we get to Damian Cameron. Following his unaliving, after an encounter with Rankin County sheriff deputies, Dr. Turner's office classified the manner of unaliving as undetermined. Man. Independent forensic pathologists later concluded that the evidence supported a homicide determination, raising significant questions about the original findings and whether critical evidence was appropriately evaluated. Man, the feds got to come down and get involved in this. This thing is crazy. Then we get to Shannon Wilson. His family has publicly expressed concern that his body was embalmed before they believe all necessary forensic examinations have been completed, thereby limiting opportunities for additional independent analysis, whether or not protocol was followed. The circumstances have further eroded public confidence in the integrity and transparency of Mississippi's unenlivened investigations process. Nolan Xavier Wells, his unenlivened has likewise become the subject of significant public scrutiny. An independent forensic pathologist concluded that the manner of unenlivened should remain undetermined pending further investigation and stated that foul play could not be excluded. That opinion stands in contrast to the state's conclusion and underscores the need for objective review. No single disputed case necessarily establishes misconduct. However, when multiple investigations involving similar public concerns continue to emerge, government oversight is not merely appropriate, it's essential. This petition does not ask the public to presume wrongdoing. Instead, it asks government officials to fulfill their legal and ethical obligation to determine whether Mississippi's death investigation system is operating with scientific integrity, professional independence, and equal treatment under the law. Accordingly, we demand that the appropriate authorities appoint an independent panel board, certified forensic pathologists outside of the state of Mississippi to review disputed unenlivened investigations overseen by Dr. Stacy Turner. Conduct a comprehensive audit of unenlivened classifications in cases where credible concerns have been raised by families or supported by the independent forensic opinions. Determine whether accepted forensic pathology standards, ethical obligations, and state laws were consistently followed. Examine whether any systemic disparities or patterns exist in the investigation or classification of unenlivened involving African Americans. Publicly release the findings of the investigations to ensure transparency and restore public confidence. If the evidence establishes professional misconduct, gross negligence, incompetence, ethical violations, or any breach of license standards, initiate disciplinary findings, including suspension or revocation of Dr. Turner's medical license, as warranted by the findings. Public confidence in the justice system cannot exist without confidence in the integrity of forensic unenlivened investigations. Every inaccurate determination has the potential to deny justice to victims, deprive families of truthful answers, and undermine the rule of law, right? The citizens of Mississippi deserve a medical examiner office that is independent, objective, transparent, and beyond reproach. Justice demands accountability. Truth demands transparency. The people of America deserve both. Respectfully submitted. The undersigned citizens, families, community leaders, and supporters of equal justice and accountability. So they're coming straight. They're coming straight for her, and they're holding the state accountable, because I told y'all since 2016, leading up until now, there's been a lot of questionable unenliveneds. And the people down there believe that this medical examiner was just ruling these deaths either undetermined or saying that they took out themselves. That's what they've been saying. And the DA hasn't been real transparent with anything. They're not being forthcoming. So this is the way that they've been used to handling things down there in Mississippi. And I believe that, I don't believe, I hope, because it's always been them for the win and us for us losing, because they've been getting away with this forever. But you have district attorneys all over the country starting to call out this DA and talk about how she's not handling this case appropriately. They're talking like this.
The phone in the Nolan Wells case. I have a message directly to DA Angel Myers McGrath from a former prosecutor who did the same job you did, 30 years criminal trial experience, certified criminal trial lawyer, former head county prosecutor. Please listen carefully. This phone issue is getting out of hand. Nobody knows what to believe because you keep refusing, as I've said previously, to do proper public relations. Now, supposedly, there's a letter out there that says you agreed in July to have the phone examined with the experts from the family at a specific location and in a specific way, and that they are ready, willing, and able, and gave 4 dates this week where they would be willing to surrender that phone for examination. Now, I've been involved in things like this, so I don't know what's been said or hasn't been said, but I'll say this. The only story that we're listening to is that from Nolan Wells' family. And when they send you a letter and you don't respond and correct that letter, then we can only presume rightly that what's in that letter is correct. So the question becomes, if you had an agreement in July, why is it not being honored? There are accounts that you have demanded that the phone just be turned over in violation of that agreement. And that is not a good thing, not a good look. I can tell you from the commentary on the posts that I've had that your constituency out there in Mississippi does not trust law enforcement and does not trust this investigation. Your continued failure to update the community on any misinformation, if there is misinformation, or say, for example, if this agreement is not what the agreement was, then you need to get out there and you need to let the public know. Now, stop. Stop with this thing that you don't compromise investigations about speaking about them. I've addressed this before. You are not compromising an investigation by correcting the record. You are making sure the public has an understanding, so we can only presume what's been written by Mr. Crump and his team is accurate. That phone is vital to any grand jury presentation. If you don't get that phone and you don't download it, then you are going to look like a bum no matter what it is that you do, and nobody will ever trust the investigation, to be honest with you.
So this DA is not being transparent at all, and this DA is being called out and being held accountable for the way that she's handling this case. And I'm glad that other district attorneys around the country are speaking out, so that way they can't say, well, it's just a bunch of YouTubers and social media activists saying a whole bunch of stuff. No, there's a lot of professionals, people that comes from that's professionals in that area that's also looking at this, and they're looking at a side eye like, wait a minute, how can you have the trust of the people with the way you're handling this? This is just the way they do business in Mississippi. This ain't the right way. This ain't right, right? And they're calling this stuff out. Now, TMZ was going hard just a week ago for Nolan Wells' fake friends, right? They was going hard in the paint. But the dude, Charles, the black guy, when he gets on with Don Lemon, he's talking totally different. He ain't sounding nothing like he was when he was on the actual TMZ show, where they was making all kinds of excuses and running interference for those boys, right? Where they say those boys are not suspects, but we're hearing now that possibly they could be looking at this as an unaliving, right? So then they would become suspects. Well, they should have been suspects anyway, because they was the last people that he was seen with before they found his body, right? But when this guy Charles does the interview with Don Lemon, now he's talking like this.
Certainly, I fully understand why a large number of people feel like there was a crime, but the reality is we just don't know at this point. So don't read too much into the fact that you see in this letter them talking about prosecution and talking about potential evidence. We just don't know yet, and this all comes back to getting the toxicology, the autopsy results.
What do you make of now? I mean, because I don't think you will disagree that the friends are on a PR, PR blitz to change public opinion, because they believe that they in the court of public opinion, they're not doing so well, that they have been sort of demeaned in some way, disparaged in some way.
I think it's weird. I think it's weird.
Yeah.
When Warren sat down with the guy, I know we don't like to say his name, sat down with him, I was like, okay, this one kid and his mom is a judge, and maybe he wants to sort of clear his name. But now every week, another friend sits down, and another friend sits down, and now they've got this lawyer, and they're sitting down and doing interviews. It's weird to me. And what's really, it's not just weird. Yeah, there are people who are going to say things on the internet. Why does that rise to the level of you need an attorney to now sit down and do interviews to publicize yourself, to try and change the court of public opinion? Why do you care about a court of public opinion? Because you didn't do anything. And ultimately, if you didn't do anything, and maybe they didn't, let's take them at the word, and their attorney, that they didn't have anything to do with Nolan's death. That's all going to come out when the results of the autopsy come out, when the investigation comes out. So why are you now getting? It's almost like I get like this attorney has probably convinced them, yes, do this and talk about this and it'll change public opinion. But what it really does, it makes some people will look at it and go like, well, what are you getting out? You didn't do anything. There's nothing to get out in front of. So in some ways it can backfire on you. It's just weird to me. And then you also run the risk of what did happen is that one of these kids sits down and blasts Nolan's mom and says that she was wrong to put out that photo. And that's not going to play well in the public for you, man. That you're attacking the mother of your best friend, who you're so distraught about losing him, yet you're doing an interview where you're attacking his mom.
Yeah.
It's just.
So make sure you guys sign that petition so Stacey Turner, man, we can get an investigation going on into Stacey Turner and this DA, because I believe that they work hand in hand, right? They work in tandem, because that medical examiner can determine the cause of unaliving, right? And whether the DA want to press charges or whatever, man, this whole thing needs to be turned over, man. This whole thing is a mess. And it's being dragged out because they figure if they drag it out long as they can, people will move on and forget about it. Well, people are not moving on and forgetting about it. We're not doing that. This thing is played out in the media. And they say, oh, you bringing race into it. Yeah, we should bring race into it. Don't let them play with your mind and make you believe that you shouldn't bring race into it. Everything in this country is about race, and it's always been. Don't ever let nobody tell you that. If anybody tell you that, get them out of here. Don't talk to them. It's always about race in this country, and we didn't make it that way. We didn't make it that way. And we can see right now that it's about race and the way that they're handling things. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.